All right, Math 2 students, we're going to pick up on lesson 2.5. We're on page 100, and this is number 16. Negative 16 equals 2z. Remember, the equal sign separates the two sides of the equation. This side over here with the z, you have a 2. Remember, when a letter and a number are squished together side by side, that means multiply. So we're going to do the opposite of multiplying by 2, which is dividing by 2. If we do that to one side of the equation, we're going to do that to the other. 2 over 2, any number over itself gives me 1. So 1z, no, all I have to do is write z. The 1 is understood to be in front. Negative 16 divided by 2, remember you have one negative, so your answer is also going to be negative, and that's negative 8. Now to check this, you're going to go and rewrite the problem. Negative 16 equals 2, and in place of z, you're going to put in the parentheses. In the parentheses, you're going to put the answer, which is negative 8. So negative 16 equals 2 times negative 8 is negative 16. So yes, those two check. Let's do another one. Let's look at number 20. Number 20 says, the temperature in Nome, Alaska was negative 50 degrees Fahrenheit. This was 18 degrees Fahrenheit less than the temperature in Anchorage, Alaska on the same day. What was the temperature in Anchorage? Okay, so they want to know the temperature in Anchorage. So we're going to set up an equation. So if we have x, now that's the temperature in Anchorage. We don't know that, but we do know that the temperature in Anchorage minus 18 degrees, because it's less than 18 degrees, that will give us the temperature in Nome, which was negative 50. So now that we have this equation, negative 51. No, negative 50. Now that we have this equation, we can say, okay, let's separate the two sides at the equal sign. The side on the x here, we're having x minus 18. So the opposite of negative 18 is plus 18. So if we add 18 to the left, we're going to add 18 to the right-hand side, okay? Negative 18 plus 18, anything, the opposite, if you add the opposite, it will give you 0. So we have x on the left-hand side equals, now we have a negative and a positive. The signs are different, so we're going to subtract and keep the sign of the greater. So to subtract 50 minus 18, we get 32. Keep the sign of the greater, which is the negative. So the question asked, what was the temperature in Anchorage? The temperature was negative 32 degrees Fahrenheit. So that is how we take an equation and put it with a word problem in order to get our answer. Let's look back at page 99. We're going to do one more. On page 99, I want us to look at example number 3. Page 99, example number 3. A shoe manufacturer made a profit, which remember a profit is a gain, of $800 million. This amount is $200 million more than last year's profit. What was last year's profit? So we can set up an equation. We can say, okay, they made an $800 million profit this year. That is equal to the amount they made last year. We're not sure what that was, so we'll call it P, plus 200 million, because they made 200 million more. this year. So we can now solve this equation. There's the two sides, p plus 200. The opposite of adding 200 is subtracting 200. If we do it to one side, we must do it to the other. 200 minus 200 gives me 0, leaving me with a p on the right-hand side. 800 minus 200 is 600. So now we know that last year's profit was 600 million. Now it may seem at times that you'd like to just do this in your head. And I recommend that you not do this in your head, that you set it up in an equation format so that as we continue to add more to these equations and these equations get harder, you will already be familiar with the way in which we're writing things on one side and the other. Therefore, it won't be overwhelming when we get to harder problems.